Hello, and welcome back to Building Financial Legacy, one lesson at a time. And I appreciate you coming back for episode two. We're going to actually get into the next part. As we said, we're doing it one lesson at a time. So we're going to talk about how to invest. But can you invest if you're in debt? So today we're going to talk about debt and strategies on how to get out of debt and to start letting compound interest work for you instead of you giving it to someone else while you're paying credit cards and different types of debt. So let's get to it. So, my mission is to help educators, families, and veterans like yourself overcome barriers to investing through education first financial planning, proper account setup, and long term wealth building strategies, one lesson at a time. Let's recap our last episode. We discussed and explored mindset, basic foundations of financial literacy and why it matters. We set our goals, and we're going on to our next steps of achieving greater economic stability. Your homework. So, what is your FIN? Your financial independent number, and that's going to come up again later on. So, you're already ahead of the game. What were your goals? What did you visualize your money doing for you? And did you share that with your financial partner? You guys got to work together to make this dream come true and then celebrate it. You have to celebrate those moments because you're working hard. It's not what you earn, it's what you keep. Pay yourself first. Do you know the percentage of income that you're saving thus far? Financial foundations. There are three accounts that you need: emergency, short term, and wealth building accounts. And wealth building, you've already kind of done that with your FIN. So we're empowering your decisions. So you're going to learn how to understand debt, what's the importance, and why we don't want to carry debt, different types of debt. Saving and investing allows individuals to make informed decisions, leading to a more secure financial future and effective management of resources. Also, you're building long-term stability. Remember, you're building those foundations, and it's going to make a big difference when you're not having to have that additional stress worrying about what you're going to do here or there because you already have those things set up. And then your goal alignment. You've already set up your vision board, what you want to do, what is your money going to do for you, so you can make those long-term financial aspirations. So before we can even start investing, you have to look at your debt, pay off debt. If you're paying credit cards and you owe 20% in interest rates, it doesn't make sense to go and invest and get back 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12% if you're lucky. So to make your money really work for you, you want to find ways to get rid of debt and then use that money to invest and enjoy compound interest. So we're going to talk about different types of debt: credit cards, student loans, mortgages, because high interest debt can create significant financial strain, leading to stress and anxiety. It's basically you're making these payments every month and then you get your bill and it's like, man, I haven't paid anything. Then it becomes a cycle because you go and say, hey, I might as well just use the credit card. I'm going to try to help you understand why you shouldn't. Then there's debt strategies. And we're going to talk about a couple of them: the snowball effect, the avalanche, to help you manage your debt and then prioritize repaying it in strategic ways so you can get rid of that high interest. So here we have an example of a credit card at the top. And I mentioned compounding interest, which is going to be my next recording. But this will give you a quick idea of how compound interest works. If you look here at the $3,000 credit card, it's at 20% interest, and you made no more purchases and just made the minimum payments, which will cause you to pay it off in 10.5 years. So you have a credit card purchase of $3,000, you end up paying $2,350 in interest for a total of way too much. So that's compound interest working against you. Let's look at it below, and we're going to compare two types of debt. We have revolving debt, which is your credit card, and fixed debt. So that can be like a homeowner's loan, or you can get a signature loan, but it's at a fixed rate. So we're looking at an example where both of these are representing a loan of $17,000 at 18% with a monthly payment of $595. But look at the difference. Because credit cards compound interest daily instead of monthly like fixed rate loans, you're going to pay a lot more in interest. So the red line shows that's a revolving debt, like a credit card. You're going to pay $12,500 in interest. But if it's a fixed rate, like below it, the gray, it's $5,370. And remember, you're paying $595 a month. The top one, you're going to do that for 17 years and 2 months. And the bottom one with the fixed rate, 3 years, 2 months. So see how just restructuring that debt, you can get out of debt a lot sooner. Ooh. Let's look at another one. So the power of debt consolidation. With this one, we're going to look at two columns. You have your first column. You can see your categories. You have your retail cards, your credit cards, and at the different percentages. And then you have fixed rates, your car loan, personal loan. And the first column with the red is debt. This is without it, and this is with it. So you see here for those payments here, it's $1,558. Then here is consolidated. That's why it says zero, because it was paid off by a home equity loan. That is $50,208 at 10.075%. So what they did was they went and took that $1,558 and then they split it up by making additional payments on that loan to pay it off even sooner. And they were able to actually invest. So they were able to save more than $103,000 in interest by paying it off 19 years sooner. On top of that, they were investing. So by the time they paid the debt off, they already had $186,000. But continue making that investment, and after you paid off all your debt, because you're actually even paying your mortgage off sooner, continue investing the $2,850. After 10 years, over $1 million has been saved. Now let's look at debt stacking, or sometimes you may hear it being called snowball or avalanche method. And this one is just kind of taking all your credit cards and all your debt, period, and stacking it up. And typically you want to go with the credit card with the highest interest rate, because that's the one you're paying the most on. And you're going to pay a little bit extra off of that first one. Once you pay that one off, you're going to take what you were paying on the first one and add that to the second one till you pay it off. Then you go to the next account, and here it has the car loan. Pay that off, then credit card, then you're going to take everything and start adding it to your mortgage. So with this method, without it, it was going to take 24 years to pay everything off, with interest paid as $212, right? And your monthly payment is still going to be $2,720. So you have the same payment here, $2,720, but you're going to start debt stacking, and then you'll pay it off 9 years in 9 years, which is 15 years sooner. Look at how much interest you have saved. And then that's still the same monthly payment. So you're actually learning how to combat compound interest. Great job. Here's another one, looking at your mortgage. If you just go to making bi-weekly payments, so every other week, instead of monthly payments, you're going to actually knock some years off your mortgage. Why? Again, you're paying that principal down, so that interest rate is not compounding. So if you just made a bi-weekly payment on your 30-year mortgage, you would save $52,044. Now, when I'm saying making this bi-weekly payment, and remember, all this information I'm sharing with you is educational only, is not recommending finance or investment advice. It's just kind of giving you some strategies. Remember, I will be able to do that once I get my license, but I'm just going to give you a couple of strategies. So when you're paying those biweekly payments, you want to make sure it's on the principal once your mortgage payment has been done. I've been seeing flyers coming out here lately, and the mortgage companies offer to do it for you. Do not pay additional fees to do that, because you can do it on your own. But they are saying, oh, we can do this for you, but there's a little hidden fine print. So just make sure you're not doing that. You're not paying extra. And the green line is bi-weekly payments with $50 extra per payment. Again, going towards your principal. And you would save $82,000, almost $83,000, and knock off 8.5 years. And this is all based on a $300,000 mortgage with 20% down payment at a mortgage rate of 5.6%. Now, this is going to take me to my next piece of information. In this case, they put down 20%. Why is that so important? If you don't put down 20%, you have to pay a PMI, which is a primary mortgage insurance. So by law, you're going to pay this PMI at least until you get 20% equity in your loan. And what they do is look at how much you paid at the time that was your appraisal. So by law, they have up until half of your mortgage loan before they have to stop it. So if you have a 30-year mortgage loan, then they have until 15 years to stop it. So why wait on them to stop it? With the way houses are appreciating now, you should already have 20% equity. But they're not going to knock on your door and say, hey, you already have 20% equity. That's up to you to get rid of that PMI. And when do you get PMI? That means you bought a house without putting your 20% down. Now, if you were lucky enough to have a veterans loan, it's backed by your veterans loan, so you wouldn't have PMI. But most of us do. So if you've been paying extra on your principal, you're already building equity into your home. So why not take advantage of that? You can submit a written request to your lender or mortgage service and say, hey, there's 20% there. So you can stop paying the PMI sooner. Once you do that, then you take that extra payment and put it on your principal balance, and then you start accelerating those mortgage payments and have it paid off even sooner. So it's just a little bit of a tip of a strategy that you can try, and I'm pretty sure many of you can do that, because especially if you've been in your house for a while, and we've seen how fast houses have been appreciating lately. So that's just a little added tip. Simple steps for financial health. Budget. Create a budget. so you can track your income, because regularly tracking your income and expenses help you understand your financial situation. Identify spending patterns and allows you to make informed budgeting decisions. So also you will be able to prioritize your debt, focusing on paying those high interest debts off first. So you can start building a savings, not only in interest payments, but then you'll be able to take that money and invest it to get that compound interest yourself. And then once we get to that point of um, even paying off your debt, set it up automatically so it doesn't have to be done. That's part of your budget, your financial habit. Same thing once you start investing, just make it automated. So when we're reflecting on this financial journey, it's crucial to just think about what you're wanting your money to do for you. You already came up with those goals that you want to meet. What's holding you back? There's just ways to start doing that. Start thinking about how you're going to pay that debt off so you can to allow yourself that extra income to invest. Something to think about. So, here is your homework. Take action for financial freedom. Small, consistent steps create lasting change. Begin by assessing your debts and crafting a payoff plan using some of the strategies that I just introduced today. Next, you're going to calculate how much you're actually saving. Do you know how much you're saving? So you can make that commitment to yourself and say, hey, I'm worth it. I'm going to pay myself. I need to make sure my money is working for me. This is just something for you to do for yourself. How much have you saved? You can go through those steps. Then we have the three accounts you need. So they are your emergency account. You want to have a minimum of 3 months of income for purchases that will be just something fast, 0 to 2 years, your emergencies, uncovered medical expenses. But to do that, you're going to calculate your MIN. What is a MIN? Your monthly income fund, monthly income need. How much do you spend every month? Look at your mortgage, your utilities. Once you come up with that number and you put it here, then you're going to multiply it times 3. That will be your emergency account. Then for your short-term account, you want to have a minimum of 6 months for purchases within 3 to 5 years, or if you have to, if you lose your job or something comes up, you want to make sure that you can pay it. So you want to have 6 months of your monthly income need saved up. And then your wealth building account, that's your goal for enough money to retire, enjoy yourself, and hopefully retire even younger while you can still do stuff. But that is already done. You did it on your first homework assignment. That's your FIN, your financial independent number that you will have here. So get your journal, start putting those little things there. And I can't wait to take those pieces and start putting them together. And we're going to discuss the rule of 72 and compound interest. Yay. So hopefully I'll see you back again. Have an awesome day.